What's good? What's gooch? Yeah, what's gooch, everybody? You know who it is. It's me, Sam Hayashi, Double M, Motias. So I was just doing, I was just playing some of my Magic, Magic the Gathering, playing on Arena. And I was kind of just going through some thoughts and talking about, just kind of thinking, just different things I've been thinking about. And sometimes I feel like I get into these places where, and you have to excuse, what I'm saying, for those who don't know, I was recently in an accident and I had some surgery and I'm recuperating. So please forgive my, less than, anyway. And I was thinking about, again, like, articulating, because, like, all the different things that I've started to do and have yet to finish, but, haven't forgotten, and I'm thinking about some encouragement that, I've gotten from people, and like, what is it that I'm really, here for? You know what I mean? Like, what is it that I'm, what am I really trying to say? What am I really saying? You know what I mean? Because, I'm not trying to, I want to edify, you know what I mean? I want to bring understanding, bring that calm, bring the peace, bring, like, bring some tools for self-discovery and, like, and celebration, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's one of the big things for me, living our life, like, free, you know what I mean? Like, just moving and grooving and doing what we got to do, sipping that Mountain Dew, because who, wouldn't want to do that Mountain Dew, But what I'm saying is, I'm working on my articulation. Recently, one of my buddies, he's talking about my writing, because my freestyles and stuff like that, it's appreciated, and it's, it's love and everything, and, but that's the thing, right? It's kind of like you do gotta be specific. Something my mom would always say, you gotta, like, what do you want heaven to be, right? And that's what I'm trying to get at here. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not just trying to, make noise. I'm trying to, like, communicate, right? And so you might have seen some of the different responses I was making to, posts that I made and everything. And, so I do get pretty specific. And I think that sometimes, the specificity may be overwhelmingly, apparently grandiose, and, it could be. I mean, I don't think, for me, I feel it's not, you know what I'm saying? But that's because, what can I say? God, God is good. And I'm communicating, that, like, for me, a lot of it, what am I trying to articulate? I'm trying to articulate that, like, relationship, you know what I'm saying? Okay, so a lot of my people out there, that, like, spirituality, faith, like, you might have heard this expression, right? Like, separation is the illusion, right? Because even someone like Eckhart Tolle, right? He talks about how connection, is still one layer, or at least a layer. It's not the deepest, the oneness, right? The oneness is the core, you know what I mean? Connection. And so it's interesting, we see that there's this interesting dynamic, right? Like, everything is already connected. So in a sense, we don't really got to do anything, but in another sense, not to complicate it, but, we go through life and we see that, it's like we play a part in it, right? So, you can realize a lot more. I feel like, anybody really, you can realize a lot more of what your inner mind, right? What your inner, gut is, going for you. but you do have to do something. Like, inflow is determined by outflow, right? So you got to kind of put something in to get something out. You get what you give, type of thing, right? And again, so there's elements beyond the word, there's elements beyond, again, just making noise. Like, you can repeat the same thing over and over. And that's where sometimes I feel like, I feel like but at the same time, sometimes you just got to keep saying the same thing over because you need the right ears to hear it. Sometimes, and I don't always know, but that's why I keep doing my thing. That's why I keep, letting y'all know that I appreciate you. You know what I'm saying? All the people have been there all the time. Always showing some kind of, because again, there's people who, you got your friends, you got your different people that also may not understand exactly. They may not see every side of your life. And so they may not want to, go at the same pace as you. Again, there's just so many aspects to it. And that's why communicating, I feel like, I've always, I think, again, it's nothing new, but, idiomas, la gente, entiendes what I'm saying? Yo aprendiendo, idiomas para mis familia, de Japón, de Latin America, you know what I'm saying? De Portugal, yo falo, you know what I'm saying? Right? Because think about it, right? We're not just where we start. We start in some place. We start with some language. We start with some context, and then we learn that, oh, there's more, right? And so that's why, again, for me, it's like the languages, spoken languages, I think is, for me, is one of the most powerful things. Telling people what you want, right? Like, I was talking with one of my craft mates, you know what I'm saying? And we were talking about, how the craft has been, how it's adapted over time and everything. And, like, what do I want from the craft? What do I want from the craft? For me, the craft, I got so much therapy. I got so much, meaning and purpose. I built so many relationships through it. There's, so many, there's so many, like, tangible things out there on the internet now. So for me, it's like, it's a beautiful bonus. It's a beautiful byproduct of discovering, what channeling your energy can do. It's a lot more than I can say, you know what I'm saying? That's where the music comes in, because it's about celebration, you know what I'm saying? It's like, it's about the relationships, relationships, that's the thing, outside of spoken word, you got the dance, right? Now, how do you get somebody to feel the rhythm of the music that you do, right? It's like, you gotta maybe speak the words, but you also gotta get the right music. And that's the thing, you know what I'm saying? I feel like that's where we bridge the gap, globally. You know what I'm saying? We bridge the gap globally, where, again, the music resonates with the rhythm of whoever, you know what I'm saying, we're with, right? We're present, right? In the sense that, like, because I think about, like, I was listening, one of my buddies sent me some Japanese rap yesterday, and I do follow Miyachi. If you guys don't know Miyachi, he's one of the, I would say, top native Japanese rappers these days. I love how he goes, his flow is multiple languages, you know what I'm saying? He goes back and forth from English and Japanese. I like to cite, Snow the Product, because she does that a lot. I feel like that's a whole new element in the craft that, is really ready, for more participation. I'm not saying it hasn't been done before, but I'm saying that, like, again, bridging the gap, right? Realizing the relationship of your past, your present, and the future, right? Because, for me anyway, I'll just be blunt with you, like, for me anyway, I think about my life, and I think about, like, how, I don't know what I had this conversation with my friend, with one of my closest bros growing up. You know what I'm saying? One of the homies, like, you know, kicking it with me every week growing up as a kid. And we had this thing about, like, you know, like, he said that he could live without music. He felt like he could live without music. And, you know, I was surprised because I cannot imagine my life without music. I mean, I remember my mom would always tell me my dad sang us lullabies when we were in the womb. I remember growing up, my mother would wake us up every morning playing the guitar. You know, I remember, like, you know, I remember music being just an omnipresent part of life. Like, you know, if I might be having a jingle in my head, just, you know, going through my day just because, you know, it didn't leave, you know what I mean? And so that's why for me, I feel like, you know, the music, you know what I'm saying? The music is like, I mean, because I think about Michio Kaku, right? There was this one debate one time where we had, I mean, Michio Kaku was the moderator between atheists and theists. And he finished off the debate by saying that he saw God or ultimate reality, you know, as an 11-dimensional symphony. And I was like, man, that's exactly what it is. You know, like, you know, how can you live your life without music? I'm not saying that some people maybe, you know, maybe, again, just feel so much beauty from, like, what they see, you know, from, like, what they can touch, you know, that's great. I'm not gonna, you know, why not? I don't, you know, as long, if it works for you, that's good. You know what I mean? But I just feel like for me, you know, I think about the movies, I think about, like, you know, all the places I've been and, like, the music that I heard when I was there. And it really just makes everything so much more meaningful, you know? And so, you know, that's why my thing, bridging the gap, you know, bridging the gap. I think about, you know, again, one of my brodies, you know, he's seen my video out in, you know, on the East, out in Asia, and he's, you know, he's talking about how, like, you know, that's the thing, right? What is the God of the gaps? What does that mean? You know, in between the moments, you know, like, that's the thing, right? Anyway, let me slow down a little bit, take a breath here. You know, there's always stuff to do, you know what I'm saying? But I think that we work a lot of times to get to the music, you know what I mean? I think about this for myself. Like, I'll, you know, getting through the work, getting through whatever it is that we got to do so I can sit back, play my music, kick it, you know what I mean? You know, spit a verse, you know what I mean? You know, be at church, you know what I'm saying? Have my guitar ready, play the strings, you know, I mean, truly, again, there's so many things. I mean, again, when we talk about relationships, I mean, like, think about your relationships, like, you know, how much of those relationships were defined in some sense by the music that was being played, you know, like, you know, and again, for me, it's irremovable, you know, there's no, like, music is life, you know what I'm saying? Life is possible, you know what I mean? Life is possible, much more explicitly, you know what I'm saying, when you have something to groove to, something to groove with. And that's why, you know, the craft has become much more explicitly a, you know, sacred practice in my life. And it's, you know, I'll say it's challenging because, you know, it is a black craft, you know what I'm saying? It is a black craft, and, you know, there's no reason to take away from that. You know what I mean? You know, I mean, honestly, it's a great thing. I think that, you know, it's not like, I mean, everybody kind of knows it, but sometimes, you know, anyway, again, it just gets, you know, it just gets mixed up, you know what I mean? Like, people, again, there's a language to it. So, I hope I'm making sense. You let me know if what I'm saying isn't making any sense, or if, you know, you want some clarification on something, or you want me to kind of hone in on, you know, one of the topics I'm kind of covering here, but I just think about like the world I want to see. There's a lot of music, you know what I'm saying? There's a lot of like, you know, like freedom to be in the music, you know what I'm saying? Be like, you know, there's no fear, you know what I'm saying? You can do what you got to do, you know what I mean? And I think again, it's something we got to just realize individually, you know, at our own pace and stuff like that. Sometimes again, we do need to push once in a while too, you know what I mean? Even for me, I would not have been in this craft had it not been for a what was it called, like a beautiful quote unquote mistake, you know what I mean, breaking up of a relationship that let me fill that gap with the craft and, you know, come back to reality, you know what I mean, come back to my family strong, you know what I'm saying, return victorious, you know what I mean. So that's what I'm trying to say. So articulating my message, you know, again, for me, I do like to talk about some serious, you know, topics sincerely. There are a lot of things in the world that, you know, I just don't know how we can stay silent on, no matter how the consequences may be, you know what I mean? But that doesn't mean that we can't celebrate, that, you know, it doesn't mean that we can't enjoy our lives. And I think the music is a lot of times a solution. You know, I think about like my mentor, you know, I think about you know, from Uncle George, you know, Uncle George Augustus Stallings, and I think about when he asked me to edit his you know, his gospel of Michael Jackson, and you know, how honored I felt that, you know, he wanted me to do that. And I remember, you know, because that's a lot of his message. I mean, even like if you go to his Twitter, if you go to, you know, that's one of his quotes, you know, as love is the universal, if love is the universal language, music is the universal unifier, you know. It breaks down a lot of the spaces in between the, you know, what words, you know, limit us to. So I'm gonna leave you with that, and thanks for watching. Much love, and I'll see you next time.